I'm Mike, and this is Will. We are the Tabletop Donkeys. Hello. I'm bringing you issue 77 of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms magazine today. And this issue, we got the final sprue for the Mortis engine. So you can start building it now, although obviously we don't have the base. But as always, if you want to skip to this issue's battle, you can do so using the time code in the description or using the chapter bars. As always, we'll have a quick look through the issue contents first. First up, we have more of the Book of the Dead. So necromancers, not content with just raising the dead into shambling husks or skeletal creatures, they sometimes take parts of the dead and twist them into new and exciting shapes, or even go so far as to entomb their deceased masters to create powerful points of death magic, such as the Mortis engine. And you can see over the page where it talks about how the Ossiarch Bone Reapers particularly like to do so, create large bone constructs. And below you can see the Mortis engine, or as well as corpse carts made out of smushing several Deadwalker zombies together with wood, similar to the Mortis engine, to create points of death magic. Or sometimes constructs similar to Mortis engines are ridden into battle by vampires as a sort of twisted throne. Then we have background on Gavriel Shawheart. So he is a particularly famous Lord Celestant for the Stormcast, and it goes over his equipment there. So you can see his model and his equipment. And then for his backstory, he was born as a mortal. He was known as Grub, born into a cornate fighting pit. Obviously a particularly horrific existence, but luckily he was able to lead some of his fellow slaves out of this particular fighting pit and was saved from death by Sigmar and reforged into a Lord Celestant for his martial prowess. And now we have the painting guide for the Mortis engines. You can see the various sub-assemblies here. And again, it's most of the colours are what you'd expect, so the reliquary is similar to some of the terrain we've seen, so you need to be careful with all the candles and vines and things. And then the Corpse Master himself, again, he's mostly robed, so he's not too difficult to put together. Just need to pay a bit of attention to his flesh, because he is actually technically living, despite being aligned with the undead. Then we have the main body of the palanquin, maybe, that he is borne aloft by the various spirits. Most of the difficulty here is going to be painting the little details under the steps, although the Corpse Master himself will cover some of that, so maybe you don't need to pay too much attention. There's lots of vines and roses and skulls that you need to get into, but other than that, it's not too bad. It's mostly bone and stone effect, which is similar to other things we've seen so far. And just don't forget about the little lanterns on the back as well. And then it goes over the book that the Corpse Master is reading from, and the little lectern that's got a skeleton attached to it. And it does go over a little bit here about how to freehand text. So it talks about planning it first and then translating your ideas onto the miniature, and then going over the flames as well that are going from the skeletons on the sides. This is actually the first half of the painting guide, so this is all the accoutrements, and then the next issue will be painting the banshees. But now I'll hand you over to Will, so we can get into our game for this issue.
Issue, there are actually 3 battle plans, although in this video we're only going to be playing one of them, the final one, because really we'd have to do a separate video for each in order to do them justice, and although there's a continuous story, they don't really affect the final one very much, the first 2, so I'll go through all of them briefly, but just be aware that we'll only be playing the last game here. So according to the narrative, the Stormcast are launching a strike in 3 separate places simultaneously in order to drive the Nighthaunt back in their striking against the Forge of Rek'zhar. So in this first one, the Stormcast are launching their attack, but are surprised when Lady Olinda joins the fight, which complicates matters. And each battle plan has its own set of forces to use, so you can see the ones for the first battle plan here. Obviously won't go over them. So here's the first battle plan, first strike. You can see the map here has 4 objectives in no man's land with 6-inch territories on the long edges, and you score 1 victory point for holding each objective at the end of their turn, or an extra victory point if you control all 4 at once. And beyond that, there's not really much to this game. And the second battle plan, the background for which is that both sides are trying to strike each other a decisive blow, destroying as many of their troops as possible. Again, there's more forces lists here. And the battle plan, Sundering Blow, where both sides have 4 choices from their respective heroes and troops lists, territories 16 inches on from the short edges, and the objective is simply to wipe the other side out. Whoever has the most units left at the end of the battle is the winner. And the third battle plan, the background for which is that the Stormcast are launching their strike on the Forge of Rek'zhar itself. These are the forces lists for the game that we're actually going to be playing here. And the battle plan itself, Command and Conquer. So So here's the battle map. We have 12-inch territories on from the long edges, and both sides have 3 objectives in their respective territories. The ones in their own territory are worth 1 victory point to that player, whereas the ones in the opponent's territory are worth 2 victory points each at the end of the turn. They take place in the realm of fire, so we'll be using those rules, well as are the other 2 as well. The effect of the first 2 battle plans is that whoever won the first one, first strike, sets up the terrain as they choose, and whoever won the second one, Sundering Blow, starts deploying a unit first. So really very little impact on the final game from the first 2, so it's not too much of a problem that we're not going to be playing them. Game lasts for 5 battle rounds, whoever has the most victory points is the winner, and each side gets 4 choices from their heroes list and 7 from their troops list, so I think that makes it the biggest game we've had with the magazine so far. So we'll show you the armies we have picked, and then get straight into the game. Here we have the Stormcast army I've picked. My 4 hero choices will be the Knight Azeroth, a Knight Incantor, and the Lord Arcanum on Celestial Drackling, taking up 2 choices of course. And I have 6 troop units because the Evocators and Dracklings cost 2. 2 units of Evocators and 2 units of Sequitors make up a Cleansing Phalanx War Scroll Battalion. And then I've got a unit of 4 Gryph-hounds and a unit of 5 Judicators. My general will be the Lord Arcanum. He'll have the Tenacious command trait for an extra wound. He'll also have the Phoenix Stone artifact. And because I have a War Scroll Battalion, I get a second artifact which I give to the Knight Azeroth, and that'll be the Relic Blade. And here is the Nighthaunt army.
So for my hero choices, I've got Kurdos Valentians, because it's been a little while since we've seen him, and then the Guardian of Souls and the Spirit Torment. For my unit choices, we have a unit of 5 Dreadside Harridans, the Chainghast, 2 units of 5 Bladegeist Revenants, a unit of Miremourn Banshees, a unit of Spirit Hosts, and a unit of Hexwraiths. And I'll make the Spirit Torment my general, give him Master of the Black Arts, and I think I'll give him the Black Amulet as well as his artifact of power.
Here's our battlefield. So we assumed that the Nighthaunt won the first game, and that's allowed Mike to set up all of the terrain pieces as he saw fit, which has tried to make my job as inconvenient as possible. And we assumed that the Stormcast won the second game, thus meaning I deployed a unit first, which might be of some use if we roll it at the same number when we're trying to see who goes first. But we'll have a look at the Stormcast deployment. Going from left to right as you see it, we've got the Evocators on Dracklings, 1 unit of Sequitors, and the Lord Arcanum. In the middle we've got the Knight Incantor, the Judicators and the Knight Azeroth, and on the right flank the other unit of Sequitors, the unit of Evocators on foot, and the Gryph-hounds. The Nighthaunt going from left to right again.
Yep, so we've got both units of Bladegeist Revenants, one behind the other, then Kurdos Valentian, then the Dreadside Harridans and the Chainghast with the Miremourn Banshees and the Guardian of Souls behind them, and the Spirit Hosts with the Spirit Torment behind them, and then finally on my left flank, or the right of the camera, are the Hexwraiths.
And a quick look at the terrain. We've got a Sinister Storm Vault, an Inspiring Sigmar Head on the left of the board, Time-worn Ruins in the middle of the board, which are always deadly according to their rules, and over on the right hand side an Arcane Sigmarite Ruin. So let's just leave it to roll off. Oh, I rolled a 6, so I will definitely get to pick. And I think in this game I'm going to go first, so on to Stormcast turn 1. Because I won the previous game, I did roll off to generate a triumph, and I got the one that lets me reroll wounds once per game. So I have lots of spells to cast in the hero phase. We'll just do them all, roll them all at once. Starting with the Evocators on Dracklings, casting Empower, needing a 6, failing with a 5. Lord Arcanum will try and cast Mystic Shield, needing a 6, failing with a 5. Knight Incantor will try and do Spirit Storm, needing a 7, failing with a 4. And the other Evocators will try and cast Empower, needing a 6, failing with a 4. Well, that's a great start. So I start the game with a command point because I have a War Scroll Battalion. I would then normally gain a second, but on 5+, Kurdos Valentian will steal it. No, so I'm up to 2. And then in the movement phase, we're moving up pretty cautiously because aware that the Nighthaunt could get the double turn and defending our home objectives. So just moved up a little bit over on this side. And again in the middle, not getting within an inch of the deadly terrain, obviously. And on the right side, the Gryph-hounds have shuffled off to the flank sideways, but otherwise we're just advancing cautiously once again. In the shooting phase, the Judicators are going to shoot at the Dreadside Harridans. Shockbolt Bow hits on 3. That's a hit. It gets D6 hits, 2. Everybody else, the prime on the black dice hits on a 2, on 3s otherwise. Well, they all hit. So 6 hits in total, winning on 3s. 4.
4+ saves. Made 1, ignoring damage on 6s. Dead ignoring it, so that's 3 dead Harridans. 1, 2, 3.
But that'll be it for my turn, because obviously no charges to be done. On to Nighthaunt turn 1. And at the end of my turn, I gain 3 victory points for holding my 3 home objectives.
I gain a command point, and for spellcasting, I'll do the Spirit Torment. He's going to try and cast Mystic Shield on something. 6 is enough, I think.
Well, we'll try and unbind with the Evocators on that side, needing a 7. Nope.
And then Spectral Law from the Guardian of Souls, also on a 6, gets it with a 9.
Try and unbind normally with the Night Azeroth, I suppose. Not the Night Azeroth. The Night Encounter, I suppose. No.
So I'm going to cast it on the Harridans, bringing back D6, 2. So I'll bring back 2 Harridans in front and put Mystic Shield on the Hexwraiths. So we're going to move up cautiously as well. We've got the 2 Bladegeist Revenants units sort of forming up like this to make it easier for Kurdos to provide his 6 inches of Deathless minions. And in the centre we have the Harridans and the Banshees and the Guardian Souls moving up, and the Chainghast. Chainghast is going to be in range of the Judicators. Then the Spirit Host with the Spirit Torment behind, and the Hexwraiths also just kind of holding objective. Was tempted to try and charge those Gryph-hounds, but I want them to get a bit closer. So in the shooting phase, the Chainghast will shoot at the Judicators. So you have 2d3 shots hitting, 2d3 shots for 3, hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s. They all hit. And then wounding on 2s. They all wound. -2 rend.
So 6s to save. Nope, that's 3 damage. But thanks to Cycle of the Storm, we'll just have this one die because it'll reduce it to 2 wounds effectively. And then the Nighthaunt gain 3 victory points for holding their home objectives, but then that's the end of the turn and of the battle round. Rolling off the battle round 2. Roll a 3.
It's a tie, so you win.
And I think I'm going to make the Nighthaunt go first because they're still reasonably far away to make a charge. So on to Nighthaunt turn 2.
Right, so I gain a command point, go up to 2. And I'm going to spend one of those immediately to put Blazing Fervour on something. I'll put it on the Harridans, I suppose. Going to start spell casting with the Spirit Torment. He's going to try and cast Fireball, needing a 5. Gets hit with a 6.
Try and unbind with the Evocators over there. 6. No, that's not enough.
So I'll put that on the unit of Sequitors opposite the Spirit Torment. So the ones on the right flank for D3 mortal wounds. Just 1. And then the Guardian Souls will try and cast Spectral Lord, needing a 6. Gets hit with a 10.
Try and unbind normally. Oh, I did 11. Oh, I did. Oh well.
Right, so here on the left-hand side of the board, we're going to go kind of ham. Everyone's going to move up aggressively. And the Bladegeist and the Harridans forming the front line. And then the Guardian of Souls ran so that he can get better range for his aura. And Kurdos has moved up normally as well. Might do some long charging. Primal Banshees following behind. And then over on the left, over on my left or your right, going to be more cautious. The Hexwraiths are going to hold position, as are the Spirit Hosts. And the Spirit Torment has moved across a tiny bit so that he's within 12 of the Chainghast so that they can project his aura to the rest of my army. So in the shooting phase, we're going to start with, we've got the Chainghast. They're going to shoot at the Judicators again. 2d3 shots for 4 this time. Hitting on 4s, rolling 1s. Getting 3 hits. Wounding on 2s. Getting 3 wounds again.
And 3 6s to save again. Nope. So we'll just kill off this one and put a wound on that one. We're not going to use Cycle of the Storm on this occasion.
So now we're on to the charge phase, where I'll start with the Harridans. They'll declare a charge. You've got +1 to this roll, so they get a 13. So that huge charge actually allows them to get over the Judicators to engage them. Staying 3 inches away from the Night Azeroth, but can't stay away from the Night Encounter, unfortunately. Then this unit Bladegeist here will declare a charge. Going to want a big roll. 5 isn't going to be enough. So I think that's actually going to be it for charging, because I could charge some Bladegeist into those Sequitors, but they'll probably do power to shields and survive, or they'll certainly get a strike back. So I think I am just going to do the Harridans. Very risky, but I might be able to take that objective. And they're going to put all of their attacks on the Judicators. So we've got 13 attacks on the Harridans, hitting on 4s. No re-rolling, because they probably are out of 12 of the Chainghast now. Well, they would be, yeah. So that's 6 hits. And wounding on 3s. Only 3 wounds. AP minus 1 with just 1 damage each.
5 plus saves. Made 1, so 2 wounds. But I suppose we will use Cycle of the Storm now because there's nothing more important to save, so it effectively just becomes 1 wound when that guy dies. He comes back, and then dies again. And then I've just got 2 units to fight back. I'll do the Judicators first. They have 1 attack each, but the Prime actually does hit on 2, because he does get +1 to hit, and I don't think we've ever done this before, but it doesn't say that's only for shooting, so hits on 2, well, it helps. 2 hits. Wounding on 4s, 1.
4 plus save, made it.
And then the Night Encounter will pile in like this, and she has 3 attacks hitting on 3s. Only 1. Wounds on a 3, no. Well, and the Judicators need to take a Battle Shock test because they lost 2 models this turn. On a 6, 1 runs away. And at the end of the turn, the Nighthaunt actually take control of the middle Stormcast objective here, because there are 3 Harridans within 6 inches compared to only 2 Stormcast models. And there wasn't anything I could do about that with clever piling in or anything, it was fixed for me. So The Nighthaunt therefore gain 5 victory points, going up to 8, and we'll be on to Stormcast turn 2. So in the command phase, I will potentially gain command point, but does Kurdos steal it? Oh, he does. So I'm actually on 2, and the Nighthaunt go up to 2. Then we've got spells. We'll start with the Knight Encounter, trying to do Spirit Storm. Needing a 7. Nope, fails again. Evocators on Dracolines will try and do Empower. They succeed with a 7.
Try and unbind that with the Guardian of Souls. Fails.
Put that on this Sequitur unit here. Lord Arcanum will do Arcane Bolt. Gets it with a 6.
Try and unbind with the Mindborn Banshees, and they get +1 because there's 4 of them. So they get a 13.
So that doesn't go off. And we'll try and do Empower with the other Evocators, getting it with a 6 just about.
Try and unbind that with the Spirit Torment. Got a 7, so that's unbound.
Oh, but the Harridans are actually within 10 inches of the Knight Azeroth, so I should have re-rolled those 2 ones to hit with the Knight Encounter. So I'll just quickly fix that. Re-rolls. They both hit. Wounding on 3s. We're going to do 2 wounds this time.
4+. Failed both.
2d3 damage. Oh, 2.
So I'll take those 2.
And that's fortunate because it means that the Nighthaunt don't have enough models to take this objective anymore. It's 2 each within 6 inches of the objective, so it's quite close there. So movement, we've moved everybody up on this side, getting right into the front of the face of the Nighthaunt. The Knight Azeroth flew over the ruins. He has ended it within an inch of the deadly terrain, so let's roll to see if he takes mortal wounds. On a 1, he takes d3 mortal wounds. That's a 1. He takes d3 mortal wounds. He takes 1 wound. The Adjudicators ran and retreated, but they're staying within 6 inches of that objective. The Knight Encounter is still within 3 inches of the Harridans. And over here, the Sequitors ran just to get them through the sort of bottleneck in the ruins. The Evocators are following them, and the Gryph-hounds ran and spaced themselves out in the middle of the ruins there, where they're not within an inch of the deadly terrain. No shooting, because the Adjudicators retreated. So onto the charge phase, we'll start with the Evocators on Dracolines. Needing a 3, which they can re-roll, they go to 6. Getting to there, engaging 1 unit of Blade Geists, then we'll do the Sequitors unit down here. Also needing a 3, getting a 4. They finish like that, charging the other Blade Geist unit. Then we'll do the Lord Arcanum on Dracoline. He'll need a 3, he also gets to reroll, get a 9. And I'll quickly do the Knight Azeroth as well. Anyway, it's a 12. And then the Lord Arcanum gets in there, and the Knight Azeroth over there, where he's not within 3 inches of those spirit hosts. No charges on the other side, because everything ran. So at the start of the fight phase, we will blow up 3 spirit flasks, doing 3 mortal wounds to basically all of these Nighthaunt units except Kurdos, and obviously the Lord Arcanum.
So ignoring damage, the Guardian of Souls on 6s, doesn't ignore any. Chainghasts, no. Banshees, no. Blade Geists, no.
Also at the start of the phase, the Sequitors here will do Power to Shields because the Empower and the Cleansing Phalanx Battalion mean that they're already re-rolling hits as well as wounds. And then I will pick the Evocators and Dracolines to fight first, and I'll spend a command point to give their mounts an extra attack with the Lord Arcanum's command ability. They'll pile in round a tiny bit, and then obviously all their attacks are on these Blade Geists. 9 attacks from their blades and staves, hitting on 3s. 6 hits. Wounding on 3s. 4.
4+. Made 1. Ignoring damage. Didn't ignore any.
4 attacks per mount thanks to the command ability on 3s. 7. And 3s. 4.
4s. Made 2.
D3 damage each because they charged. 4.
So ignoring damage. I ignored 1, but that's going to have to kill them all.
That's those Blade Guys dead, although nothing's within 3 inches for their Celestial Lightning Arc.
I'll do the Mindborn Banshee on the Lord Arcanum. 2 attacks on 4s rolling 1s. They both hit. 2s. They both wound. -2.
5s to save. Nope.
2d3 damage. 4.
Down to 1 wound. So we better do his attacks before he dies. Between him and the Mount, he's got 7 attacks that are effectively all the same. They have different Ren, but that doesn't matter against Nighthaunt. We're going to put 5 of them on the Guardian of Souls and 2 on the remaining Chaingast. On the Chaingast, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s, because of the Knight Azeroth, they both hit. They wound on 3s. Double 1. And on the Guardian of Souls, 3s rerolling 1s. Not a great roll. 3 hits. Wounding on 3s. 2.
4s. Made 1.
D3 damage. 3.
Ignoring. No. Actually, it's got 2 attacks because there's 2 models within range of it, so he'll attack the Lord Arcanum.
The Chaingast this is.
Yeah. 4s rolling 1s. Both hit. 3s now. 1 wound. -1 rend.
4+. Yeah, of course he dies. So, yeah, he dies. That's usually what happens. I'll pick the Sequitors. They're piling like this. Obviously, this is going to bring Kurdos in range, but I can't really avoid that. But all their attacks have to go on the Blade Geists. Big Maces hitting on 3s, re-rolling because of Empower. So, well, that's 2d3. So 4 plus 2 is 6. Wounding on 3s, re-rolling because I'm in power. I didn't need to, they all wound.
4s, made 3.
So 6 damage going through.
Ignoring. Yeah, they're gone. Whoop.
Now Curtis is within range, so he gets to pile in and fight.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do the Harridans. So I'm going to do the Harridans. They're going to pile into the Cantor. 7 attacks on 4s, getting 5. And then 3s, 6s are 2 damage. Well, 1 2 damage and 1 damage.
So the 2 damage on 4 plus, saved. The 1 damage on a 4 plus, saved. I'll do the Knight Azeroth. He'll pile in 3 inches directly this way towards the camera. Reason being that this gets him within 10 inches of the Dread Scythe Harridans, which will let the Knight Incantor reroll ones later. It's a pile-in move, so it doesn't trigger the deadly terrain. That's only normal moves and charge moves. He has 4 attacks, which hit on 3s, rerolling ones. 3 hits. Wounding on 3s, 1.
4 plus, yes. My last pick is Kurdos. He's going to pile into the Secretors. So he has 5 attacks with his mace, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. They all hit. Wounding on 3s and 6s are d6 damage instead of d3. So there's 2 d3 damage ones and 2 d6 damage ones, and this is at Ren -2.
So the d6 damage ones, we've got 6 plus saves, but rerolling 1s, 2s and 3s because of power shields. Well, we made 1, and we can reroll that 3. No, so it's those. And the d3 damage ones, same deal. We've got a 6 and a reroll. Into a 3 again. So 1d6 and 1d3 going through.
So d3 is 2 and d6 is 2. So 4 damage. 2 dead Secretors.
Not really a surprise, we'll lose the normal Secretors.
And then Kurdos has 6 attacks from his Spectral Heralds, which are hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s, and 6s do mortal wounds. So that's, there's a mortal wound. And then 3 regular hits that wound on 4s, getting 1.
4 plus save rerolling? Yes, so just another wound. And finally I have the Knight Incantor who does not need to pile in. 3 attacks on 3s, rerolling 1s. That really helped. Good odd job, Knight Azeroth. That's just 2 hits. Wounding on 3s. The objective situation is still the same, so another 3 victory points for the Stormcast. And D3 damage, just 1, so kills 1.
So that leaves the Slasher Crone.
And that's the end of the fight phase. Carnage over here. The Secretors need to take a battle shock test. Failing on a 6, no. The Knight Azeroth will use his Light of Aesir Lantern. Kurdos, the Banshee, the Chainghast, and Spirit Host are all within 8 inches of him, so they all take D3 mortal wounds. So on to Stormcast turn 3. My command phase, I gain a command point, but Kurdos might steal it again.
Yep.
Again, so it's Nighthaunt up to 3. So Kurdos, 2.
Doesn't ignore any, down to 5.
The Banshee, 1.
Lives.
Chainghast, 3.
Doesn't live.
And the Spirit Hosts, 2. So killing the Chainghast at least, and one of the Spirit Hosts down to 1 wound. Starting with the Evocators on Dracolines, casting in power. They get it with a 10.
I guess I'll let you have that, it's a bit too hard to unbind.
So I'll put that on the Secretors fighting Kurdos. The Knight Incantor will do Spirit Storm, fails with a 6. And the other Evocators needing a 6, they get a 9 for their Empower.
Try and unbind that with a Spirit Torment, needing a 10.
And over on this end of the field, the Evocators on Dracolines have fallen back to the Nighthaunt home objective over there. So they've fallen back, have moved to take the home objective over there. The Secretors will stay in melee with Kurdos because somebody has to hold him up. The 2 remaining Adjudicators have shifted us along a bit, getting one of them within range of this objective in the corner, just to prevent that Banshee from retreating and claiming it if she survives. The Knight Azeroth has moved to here, so he gets himself within range of that middle objective of the Nighthaunt. I don't think the Spirit Torment is within 6 of it. And on the far end, the Secretors have moved out, and as have the Gryph-hounds, and the Evocators are following. Shooting phase, and the 2 Adjudicators are going to try and finish off that remaining Marmor Banshee. So the Shock Bolt Bow will hit on a 3. It does. It gets D6 hits, just the 2. The Prime hits on a 2. He does, so 3 hits. Which wound on 3s. We've got 2 wounds.
4s, made 1. Annoying damage on the 6, no.
And of the Banshee. And in the charge phase, we're going to charge all these units, so I'll just roll them all in sequence. But we'll start with the unit of Secretors. They roll a 6, that'll be good. We'll do the Gryph-hounds, they roll a 10, and the Evocator unit rolls a 6. They're probably failing. Yes, the Evocators did fail, but the Secretors and the Gryph-hounds have charged into the Hex Race. No more charges, so at the start of the fight phase, I will pick the Secretors fighting Kurdos to go first. They're going to do Power to Shields at the beginning of the phase and then attack. 4 Great Mace attacks on 3s, re-rolling because I'm in power. That was not a 6. but it was a hit. So 1 6, 1 miss, and 2 normal hits. The 6 is 2 hits, so that's 4 in total. Wounding on 3s, re-rolling because of Empower. 4 wounds.
4 pluses. Made 3.
No, failed 3.
Failed 3. He's dead.
Yeah, he takes 6 damage.
So I'll do the Hex Race. One of them can only fight the Gryph-hounds and the other 4 fight the Secretors.
Those Secretors would have done power to shields as well, actually. I forgot to say that at the start.
9 attacks from scythes on the Secretors. Hitting on 4 6s do mortal wounds. Well, there's 3 mortal wounds. No re-rolls. And just 1. Yeah, no re-rolls because they're not wholly within 12. But an ordinary hit that wounds on a 3. It doesn't. So 3 mortal wounds.
So 3 damage so far.
And then 8 attacks from horses on 4s. Getting 3. And 5s. Getting 1.
Rerollable 4+. Made it.
And then the Gryph-hounds, 2 attacks with a scythe, getting a mortal wound, and 2 attacks from horse on 4s, getting a hit, and also wounding.
No save, so 2 damage to a Gryph-hound. That's 2 dead Secretors and a damage to a Gryph-hound. And then I've just actually got these 2 units to fight, and that's it. So I'll just do the Secretors first. This one will pile in over there. 5 attacks from Great Maces in this unit. On 3s, re-rolling all of that because Empower and the Cleansing Phalanx. It's a bit better. No 6s though. 3s re-rolling. They all wound.
4s, made 2. Yeah, I'll do some ignoring. I think there's 1 in range. He ignored 1. He dies, so another one takes a wound.
And the normal maul, 3s re-rolling. We need the re-roll. It's only 1 hit. Wounds on a 3 does
4s, yeah. So it's 3 damage in total, I think. So, whoop. That one.
Then the Gryph-hounds will go, and I might as well use my Triumph actually, which I haven't remembered up to this point, or I haven't really needed up to this point, so I'll use that to let them reroll wounds. 9 attacks hitting on 3s, 3 hits. Wounding on 4s, but with a reroll. We need the reroll. Yes, 3 wounds.
4s, made 2.
So 1 more dead, and they're not going to bother making their retreat move, they're already within 3 inches of the objective, which is why we probably use that for, if anything.
Well, I've got the Slasher Crone.
Right.
Should have happened before the Gryph-hounds, but it's not going to make any difference. 4 attacks from the Slasher Crone on the Knight Incantor on 4s, getting 1. Hey, she got a wound.
5+, or 4+, so it's a fail, so she takes damage, down to 4 wounds. I finally got the Knight Incantor to go. She'll pile in this way just to get in range of the objective. And she hits back because she's my last unit. Hits once, as usual. Oh, it does wound though.
4+, yes.
I finally got the Knight Incantor to go. She'll pile in this way just to get in range of the objective. And then that's the end of the turn. No battle shock tests required, but the Stormcast actually take all 6 objectives, including all 3 of the Nighthaunt ones, because there are more Stormcast models on the far right one than there are Hex Wraiths, and nobody on the middle or the far left ones. So they gain 9 victory points in this turn, going up to 15.
Yeah, and at this point I'm going to concede because I don't think... I can probably take some of the objectives back, but I probably can't do that and then go back over to take the Stormcast ones, so I think we'll call that a Stormcast victory.
Yeah, I have 9 victory point lead in the end, and the halfway through battle round 3, so I don't think there's going to be coming back from that. So yeah, it will be a Stormcast victory, and we'll recap that game for you now. Well, that was the game for issue 77 of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms magazine. How do you think that went?
It was pretty badly, to be honest. I probably should have just hung back entirely instead of making sort of half-hearted attack in the second turn. Because I wanted to be aggressive, but I think I ended up being too far away to really charge you effectively. But then again, if I probably should have charged anyway, just so that I was fighting more on your side of the board, and then I had the opportunity to fall back any surviving units onto objectives and that sort of thing.
Yeah, because I did take a risk by giving you the initiative in battle round 2, and that Harren's making a 13-inch charge and nearly taking my home objective. They would have done if we hadn't remembered about the Knight Azros's re-rolling 1s aura, actually. Could have really put you on the front foot, but then, yeah, because I was able to charge you and do a lot of damage with Spirit Flasks and stuff, and then get to your objectives. I was vaguely hoping that you would charge forward, because that would put you closer to my objectives, and I sort of hoped my buffed-up Secretors and whatnot could hold you up enough that my faster units could sneak one of your objectives or two. But
I mean, that's what. Yeah, and also I had the chance because your first turn of spellcasting was absolutely awful.
I didn't roll. It didn't even succeed. You didn't even have to unbind anything.
Yeah, I think you successfully cast 1 spell in the first 2 turns. That's terrible. You've never had anything that bad. That was a choice. And I think also probably should have put 1 unit of Blade Geist on my left rather than the Hex Race, and then they use the Hex Race speed to charge up the right. And you have them try and charge the Secretors to disrupt them. because I was tempted to swing the Hexrays around or charge the Griffhounds, but they're always annoying to charge because you have to fight them first to actually try and kill any.
And I was actually pretty worried about that flank because although my units were probably good enough to at least go toe-to-toe with yours, it was the speed of those Hexrays that was concerned about, and I didn't really know what I was going to do about it. But
yeah, and I think usually when in-game objective games, I've usually won by taking the lead in victory points and then managing to hold on to the lead, whereas here I think I played far too defensively. Probably would have been better to maybe just leave one unit on one objective and then mass everything up to try and take some of yours.
You also didn't roll that well for your saves a lot of the time. I think you failed quite a lot of 4+.
And I lost every initiative roll as well.
And you didn't get many 6s to ignore damage either.
Well, I think we've had a couple of games recently where I rolled really well for saves and ignore damage, so it's time for to swing in the other direction. It's got to balance out somehow. Maybe. And to be fair, I really don't think it can top how terrible your first turn spellcasting is. No. To have 4 wizards fail to cast any spells is shockingly bad.
Unfortunately. Also worth pointing out, yes, I did realise subsequently that I was using the Lord Arcanum model as the Evocator Prime, and then the Prime as the Lord Arcanum.
Yeah, so he didn't die. He survived by disguising himself as a normal dude.
Yeah, it was a very canny manoeuvre there, but totally mixed the models up by accident when setting the army up. And
I mean, they're built from the same kit.
Yeah, I just didn't notice. It's because the Prime is rearing up, so it looks more impressive. That's probably why.
Yeah, and he actually used his command ability as well.
Yes, which made very little difference because I massively overkilled that unit of Bladegeist, so the extra attacks were not necessary, but at least I used it once. And then the other 2 battle plans, to be honest, they didn't look that inspiring. To film all of them, we'd probably have to do 3 videos, and I don't think they add very much, really. I mean, the first one is another objective game, a bit like this one, but with the objectives in a slightly different place, and you get extra victory points for controlling all of them at once rather than just controlling your opponents. So it wouldn't have been anything we haven't seen before. And then the second one is a fight to the death, basically, which historically has actually favoured the Stormcast a bit more than objective games have, but realistically that would be a really long game.
Yeah, but also those are also the objectives of some of the upcoming battles as well, basically. So
yeah, if there'd been 3 unique scenarios that affected each other in various ways, I guess we would have had to play them, but I don't think we missed out.
I kind of think they probably could have themed them a little bit better. Maybe have some slightly preset forces, like Lady Olinda's mentioned in 1, so maybe have her, and she's only available in 1, so make it so the Nighthaunt will have to take Olinda in 1, and Kurdos in another, and Rykor in the 3rd. Maybe do similar things with, I don't know, like the Night Quest or Zandra Azurbolt and one of the Lords Arcanum.
Yeah, just to inject a bit more story into it, because those little bits of flavour text at the beginning, one of them mentioned Lady Olinda, but then otherwise it was just named random people, basically.
Yeah, that's probably something we'll talk about in our series review, but I do think the narrative hasn't been quite as strong as it was in, say, Conquest, or even Imperium as well. And even in Imperium, you at least have the Overlord and the Canoness and the Captain and stuff.
And actually, speaking about Conquest, it had an issue around the end of the run like this where we did have to play 3 games, because I think one side had to achieve a set of 7 objectives over the course of 3 games, and so we did have to play all 3. Although it would have meant more work for us, a little bit more kind of inventiveness in these games would have perhaps just made it a bit more interesting, rather than just being effectively 3 games that could have come in their own issues. Yes, we're also very close to the end, and putting 3 videos out for the whole thing, one issue would just delay the whole thing.
Yeah, we're already far enough behind.
Yes.
Still no idea of when Stormbringer's actually coming out, but hopefully we'll end up finishing this before then.
Did we get the painting? Yeah, we got the painting instructions for the Mortis engine in this issue. The final finished them. Rather, because I think they started.
No, I think there's still more.
Okay, there's still a bit more because we get the base in the following issue, so it will be finished and then actually on the battlefield eventually after that.
And I suppose also when we do the final video, we'll do a separate video over showing the whole collection, having some thoughts about it. So if there's actually anything, any ideas you have, what you want us to talk about, anything you think we might miss, let us know in the comments as well.
Yes, because we will, like we did for Conquest magazine, we'll probably do a sort of maybe 25-minute, half-hour discussion about the collection and the course of the magazine and what we've seen in it. So if there's anything you are interested in that you'd like to hear our thoughts on, then do let us know. But that'll be it for this video, I think. So let us know in the comments your thoughts on this video as well, and how you thought it went, and the various scenarios and so forth. If you enjoyed it, then feel free to leave a like and subscribe so you keep up to date with the latest ones. We've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.